Hi, and welcome to my podcast, Jack to the Future. From science and inventions to pollution and recycling, I talk about what's changing in the world, the future, and how we can help with that. Every month I'll talk about a different future theme. For example, the future of science, tech, sustainability, reading, music, and all sorts of other ones. The future of everything. This week's episode is about recycling, reusing and replenishing. We talk to a local business owner and get her advice on this topic. I also share with you some tips from a book that I've read and test your knowledge on an environmentally friendly quiz. So, hello. Today we're going to talk about some environmentally friendly things for ways to save the planet. Over lockdown, I watched an episode of Maddie Moat and Greg Foot, Let's Go Live, and it was all about climate change. They did a quiz, and I'd like to do the quiz with you. Question 1. The Earth climate has been A. Constant, B. Heated up, C. Changing. I'll say that again. The Earth climate has been A. Constant, B. Heated up, C. Changing. The answer is C, changing, because the ice caps are melting and that the world is heating up, which is known as global warming. Question number 2. Earth's climate has been heating up more than before because A, of volcanoes, B, of the sun, C, of humans. The answer is because of humans. An example of how we're doing this is having fires, driving diesel cars, using lots of energy. Question number 3. In the 1800s, what did we do to start climate change? We, A, building greenhouses, B, using fossil fuels, C, playing records. What do you think? Answer B, fossil fuels. I hope that wasn't very difficult and you got all the answers right. I've got a book here called 1001 Ways to Save the Planet by Joanna Yarrow. I've got some top tips for you from the book and this is my first one. At the moment, people are littering in the ocean, so unfortunately the animals that live there have been dying from eating the rubbish and getting trapped in it too, which is very, very sad. So the next one is turn your microwave off from the mains because it wastes electricity by using most of its power to power the clock timer. And a few days ago I did an experiment with my dad to test what the wattage was from the microwave, and the wattage was 35 watts, so it's wasting that much when it was on. So we saved 35 watts instantly by switching the microwave off, which is really good. The next one is flat LCD screens on TVs or computers are much more efficient. They use 30% less energy, they give off less heat and less emissions. If you're getting rid of an old screen, remember to recycle it. And lastly, quite a fun one. Spend a day without spending. Leave your wallet at home. This might include only eating things that you've grown or had at home for ages, or maybe even things that you can safely pick up. For example, blackberries. My guest on my podcast today is Emma Riddle, who owns the Refill Replenish shop in Hertford. Hello, Emma. Could you tell me a bit about your shop and where you got the idea from?
So I got the idea from another shop in Letchworth because I work in Letchworth, and this little refill shop opened and I was quite intrigued and thought it was such a good idea. Then I told all my friends I could just refill and no waste involved, and they said, oh, I wish we had a shop like that in Hertford. So I looked around to see if anyone else thinking of maybe opening a shop like that, and nobody did. So I kind kind of thought, well, if I don't do it, who else is? So I just thought I'd give it a go. And we started with a crowdfunder. We raised a lot of money from the public. And that was a real kind of test to see if people were really into it. And then, yeah, we raised £8,000 and decided to go ahead with the project. So my shop involved taking your own packaging and containers and refilling with items like pasta and rice, herbs and spices, coffees and teas, dried fruit and nut, as well as non-food items like cleaning liquids, washing up liquids, shampoos, conditioners. So anything really that you have in your cupboards, you could basically refill at my shop.
Such a good idea. I've never been to a shop like it. What's the strangest container somebody has brought into your shop to refill?
I have had someone bring in an old Pringles tube, the crisp. I remember what they refilled it with rice or something. But I thought it was a really good idea because those Pringles crisp tubes, you can't really recycle them. They're really, really hard to recycle. So, and then someone just bought a plastic bin in and filled it full of 3 kilos of chickpeas. Some people kind of just have, I don't know, bigger containers that they just empty the smaller ones into.
Those are really interesting tubes and containers. Wonder why they got the idea and how they got the idea. What's your favourite thing for the house that you sell?
All right, so I really like beeswax wraps. Have you got those? So you use them instead of cling film, and they're basically sort of cotton fabric that's been coated with a mixture of beeswax and other oils to make it waterproof. And then you can just sort of cover bowls or wrap your sandwiches. So that's really good, and you can reuse them, so you can just wash them in hot soapy water.
Oh, I've never heard of those. I'll have to look out for them. We use these things that look like shower caps to cover our food, and we looked at your Facebook page and went on the Worldwide Wildlife Foundation website and did an ocean quiz, and we had a unique superpower that can help, and mine turned out to be a tide turner, which meant I had passion and commitment to help protect the seas. The Worldwide Wildlife Fund, also known as WWF, helped to stop the destruction of nature and help it to recover. How about you go onto the ocean quiz and find out what your superpower could be? The website is in the episode description. What is the thing that you're most worried about with the seas?
So yeah, the seas, it's really concerns me is trawler fishing as well, catching things in net that don't need to be caught in net. So things like whales and stuff get caught up in nets and then they can't come to the surface to breathe and then they die unnecessarily. And also the microplastics that are going into sea. So they were talking about in makeup and fleecy jackets and things that are made up from recycled plastics, but when you wash them, those microplastics just get into the water system. So the small fish eat them, and then obviously the big fish eat the small fish, and it gets into the food chain, and then we kind of eat it. Bit of plastic bags, and turtles think they're jellyfish, and then they eat them, and they can't kind of regurgitate them. My daughter's into animals, and she was telling me that because they've got spikes in their throats, they can't get it out. Swallowed it. It's swallowed.
Once when I went to the beach, I saw lots of plastic bags in the sea and I was scared that they might be jellyfish, and I actually nearly stepped on one and they just ran away screaming.
No, but people that live by the sea are really conscious of it, aren't they? And they kind of do litter picking. They try and pick up the plastic from the sea.
Also, do jellyfish have a brain or not? I don't think they do.
No, I don't think they do. I don't think they make conscious decisions, do they?
A long time ago, when I was like 3, I saw some teenagers and they were throwing rubbish off the end of the pier. It looked like they didn't care anything about the ocean. They were just yeeted it off the edge. I think they need to think about their behaviour, know what they're doing by throwing rubbish into the ocean.
But thinking about it, when you start being a bit more conscious about it, it kind of does make you more worried, doesn't it? About
I know that we don't live near the sea, but when we actually go to it, we're just responsible and not to throw any rubbish there. Do you sell any nut butters in your shop, like peanut butter? Are they palm oil free?
I don't sell nut butter in my shop. I know a lot of zero waste shops have got nut butter machines. Yeah, you put sort of roasted whatever nuts in, and the customer presses a button and it dispenses peanut butter out the other end.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I can't wait to try it.
Jury's out about sustainable palm oil as well. It all gets a bit overwhelming. I think that these authorities are kind of actually doing the right thing. But yeah, sustainable is better than not.
Why do you think they use palm oil?
Palm oil hasn't got a flavour to it, so that's probably why they use it, and it's cheap. Gives a bit more fluidity to it, so it's easier to spread on your toast.
Yeah, just I like the ones that we get.
But you can make your own nut butter at home, because you can just buy the nuts and you just roast them, and then you just put them in your food processor. But it takes a long time to get them to go.
Can you tell us about the porridge pancakes that you recommended to us to use up leftovers?
Yeah, so you just make porridge like you would normally, and then literally put a scoopful of flour in, an egg, mix it all up, and then if it needs loosening a bit, you just put a bit of milk in it, and then you just cook them like pancakes, Scotch pancakes. We make porridge now to make porridge pancakes.
Yeah. What do the pancakes taste like? Do they taste porridgey?
A little bit. It's quite nice because you could spread a bit of peanut butter on them, or a bit of yogurt and granola on them, or some fruit.
Or you could add an extra pancake, some syrup. We looked at the Greenpeace website, and plastic pollution is a big problem. With Easter coming up, what can you recommend to people? Because Easter eggs always have loads of packaging in them, but I also really like chocolate.
Well, I guess the best thing to do would be getting a big bar of chocolate, wouldn't it? You'd always melt it down and make shapes if you wanted, or make it into crispy crackle cakes with Rice Krispies. That's quite a nice little treat, isn't it?
Yeah. In fact, I had a chocolate cornflake cake at school a few days ago.
Or ask for money instead.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could always look for an Easter egg that had cardboard packaging instead of any plastic. A bit easier to recycle then. Yeah, maybe think about how you could reuse the packaging as well, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Today I've just used some egg cups to plant some seedlings with soil, and I've put some sunflower seeds in them. Hopes I can reuse everything.
I've heard that Co-op are doing eggs with recyclable packaging. Looked at which supermarket was the best for reducing packaging.
Who was the worst and who was the best?
Morrison's was the top.
They're always quite accommodating when I want to buy fish or meat. They always, if I take my own container, they're really happy to put it in my own box. I try and use our local shops as well. So my local butcher, instead of having plastic wrap now, I don't know whether it's me moaning at him, he wraps everything up in paper for every customer now, and he'll put it in my box for me. Guys on the market in Hertford the fishmongers are really happy to use for me to take my own boxes. So try and use sort of small local traders.
We go to the organic fruit and veg shop quite a lot, and they have some really exciting and different fruits. Once I think it was a Chinese sort of type melon. They always give us the fruit in paper bags, or we take our bags our own. Easy Earth is a website which helps people to live more sustainably. We did a quiz about our carbon footprint, and it asked things like how many people lived in our house, how many cars we had, how many holidays we've been on. The score on our quiz was above the world average, but better than the UK. When we did the results of the quiz, we were actually better than we thought. We're going to swap to plant-based milk and make sure we do walking and cut down on our single-use plastic. What do you do to reduce your carbon footprint?
Wow, I'm kind of a bit more conscious about how you live your life, aren't you? So, for example, if I needed to go somewhere in the car, maybe make it a rule. If it's under 2 miles, then either use my bike or walk. We try and reuse things using no energy light bulb, trying to turn the lights off when you leave the room. You can just do little things, stuff like try and collect your water in the garden from the rain that falls off the roof. So then you can use it in the summer to water your garden.
Yeah.
Just to be a bit more sustainable. Think about when you get in the shower. Do you really need a shower for 15 minutes? Do you reckon you could time yourself and get washed in 3?
Like wasting water.
Yeah, and they use a lot of energy to heat the water, don't they, as well? Do you need to wash your clothes every time you use them? Can you wear it again before you wash it? We try and reuse everything.
What about clothes or toys?
We try not to buy things that are brand new all the time. They're buying things that might have belonged to someone else before. I think you just need to be more conscious about asking yourself the question, do you actually really need that? Have you got something like that already? And I always say, does it go with what I've got in my wardrobe? Because if it doesn't, then you're not going to wear it, are you? Or maybe buy something higher quality, so something from a higher priced item that might have a second-hand value. So maybe if you get bored of it, then someone else might want it off of you, and it will be in a good condition for that. So kind of that. Bought some really nice trainers recently made from eco-friendly materials. The soles made from cornstarch, and the uppers were made from merino wool, which is a natural material. So they're all biodegradable as well. Because the merino wool is really warm. And also got a pair of gloves from a company called Turtle Dove. So they reuse old jumpers and things to make gloves.
Can get clothes made out of silk, which is definitely not good for the environment.
Like that, it's a natural material, but it's not vegan, so those poor little silk ones.
I think a vegan is when you don't eat any meat, egg,
dairy, eggs.
milk.
People don't like to wear leather or silk. Do you remember we spoke about our beeswax wraps? Well, vegans wouldn't use those because the beeswax in them. So yeah, they wouldn't eat honey either because it came from an insect.
Yeah. Why would honey be harmful to like the bees? Because they don't actually like you're eating the bees, just eating what it makes.
But that's what they make to feed their young, and we're stealing it off them, some people think. But I think because bees have a parasitic bug called varroa, so beekeepers treat the bees to stop them getting this parasitic bug. So in this country, if bees weren't really managed, we might really find a real depletion in them because of the varroa bug. Beekeepers feed the bees sugar in the winter to keep their energy going, whereas they would normally be eating their own honey.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Poor bees. I like vegetables, but not all of them. I know that if I ate more vegetables and less meat, it would be better for the planet. Do you recommend any good recipes or meals for children?
Oh, for children. So I quite like the Jamie Oliver ones actually. The 15-minute recipes are really good. If you're cooking yourself, you don't want too many ingredients, do you? Make a nice pasta sauce with liquidized or food processed vegetables. I'm really bad at putting vegetables in cakes as well. Carrot cake and beetroot cake, my favourite.
Aubergine and chocolate probably be a winner.
And maybe just eat more of the vegetables that you like. What vegetables do you like?
Yeah, like carrots, cucumber, tomatoes, lettuce, spinach, onion, garlic, all sorts of other ones.
So you do like lots of vegetables. Maybe try not to eat with your eyes, and it doesn't look that appealing. You don't want to try it. And then my kids, I used to just say, don't eat it, just put it on your tongue. You've got to try something. Is it 7 times before you can decide whether you like it or not?
Yeah, I think that's right. Myself, I've only just started liking cauliflower, really. We'd have the cinnamon buns in your shop. Did you make them?
No, I wish I did, because they're so nice, aren't they? They're so good. They're made by a bakery in Cheshunt. They're called Proto Bakery. I get my bread and everything from. It's a small little artisan bakery.
I like those.
We try and sell things by local people.
We've got to decide whether we pay for a compost bin. The council give us a bin for free at the moment. But from April, they're only going to collect the food waste and garden waste bin if we pay.
Maybe think about ways that you can reduce your vegetable waste. I mean, do you need to peel your potatoes? Can you cook them with the skin on? Get organic carrots, you need to peel them. Maybe you could cabbage and Brussels sprouts. Have you got a friend that's got a rabbit that might have those?
I love skinny.
And maybe if you have a cauliflower, the green bit, leafy bit at the end, could you chop that up and make it into a soup? Cauliflower cheese soup, that's quite nice. Maybe we should all think about reducing our waste.
We've just found out about an app that tells you if there's any leftover food in local shops or cafes. I can't remember what it's called.
Too good to go. We used to do it at the shop to get rid of our bread, maybe if we had bread left over, or things that were kind of near the end of the shelf life. But they're really quick to go. And also someone said, oh, I picked up 2 carry bags full of cauliflowers from Morrison's.
2 bags full of cauliflower? What do you do with that? Well, I do like cauliflower, but not that much.
Another other app called Olio, they do food as well. Maybe at your school or something, do they do recycling?
We do. We bring in our cardboard boxes of food.
I think a lot of schools don't because they have to pay for someone to facility. Puts them off, really. It's a real shame. Can you refill your water bottles at school? Because that's one little thing you could do.
Yeah, we do. We have little bottles of water to refill that.
Do you do packed lunches at the moment?
Yeah, we do.
Think about what's in your packed lunch. Could you maybe do without a packet of crisps and have something else instead? Because crisps are single-use plastic, aren't they? My kids moan at me. They used to say our packed lunches were so boring, and everyone else used to have chocolate bars.
Why were the packed lunches so boring?
Because I kind of wouldn't give them any things in wrappers or treat sandwich and a piece of fruit. That was it.
Oh, I'm not sure I would like to get rid of all the treats in my packed lunch, although they're quite healthy.
Maybe not just think about recycling, just think about maybe can I reuse it? Can I buy an alternative that's not in packaging as well?
So everybody needs to take part, including businesses and schools.
But actually domestic waste is the single sort of biggest waste is from homes. I guess if we can all do a little bit at home.
Gosh, there's a lot to think about, isn't there?
Think about what's manageable, don't you? And what you can do as an individual. All add up. Things like reusing a water bottle. You know, if that's all you do, then that's good, isn't it?
This brings us to the end of our interview with our guest speaker, Emma.
Thank you for everything you taught us.
No worries. Thank you for wanting to talk to me.
Recycling, reuse your bags. Pick up litter, do your bit, avoid packaging. Use it again, organic, donate your clothes. Reduce your carbon footprint right now.
Join me next time for another exciting episode of Jack to the Future.